Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to drive a stick shift in your car. So a lot of my friends have been asking me this lately, so I decided I'd just make a video about it. So the first thing you're going to want to do when you drive a stick shift is find like an open parking lot or an open road or somewhere where there's not going to be anybody so you don't have any pressure. Even around your neighborhood is okay too. So that's the first thing you got to do, and then borrow your buddy's car that has a stick shift and tear up some gears. No, I'm just kidding. But so I'm going to show you first what the pedals are and then the orientation of the gearbox. Okay, so here are our 3 pedals for our manual transmission car, and just like an automatic, we have the gas pedal on the far right, and then in the middle is our brake pedal. And the far left, this is our clutch pedal, and this is what we're going to be using to engage and disengage the clutch so we can shift gears and we can take off from a start. So first things first, you're going to want to get used to your clutch because every car has a different clutch. You have your cable clutch and your hydraulic clutch. This car is a hydraulic clutch, so it's going to be a little bit easier, but you want to get used to pressing in the clutch and finding your catching point. But I'll show you that when we start the car, but every car is different, and this is going to be one of the things you want to get used to and comfortable with. The other thing is, in a manual car, your position of your seat is going to be huge because you need to be able to have full access and be able to engage that clutch pedal all the way. So being at a comfortable position to where you can actually engage that clutch is huge when you're driving a manual transmission car. Okay, so the second thing you're going to want to be very familiar with is the shifter and what the sequence of your gearbox is and how many gears it has and where is reverse. That's a big one. So for this car, it's a 5-speed. This is my SRT4, and this is the sequence it's in. So first is top left, second is bottom left, and then third is top middle, fourth is bottom middle, and fifth gear, my overdrive, is top right, and my reverse is bottom right. So you're going to want to know that. You're going to want to know where the gears are. Maybe just run through them real quick just to know where exactly they are and how to get to them. Okay, and another movement you're going to want to get very used to is pressing in the clutch and shifting the gear at the same time, because that's how you're going to start moving. So maybe practice this a couple times. You want to do it simultaneously. So clutch in and then pull the shifter back and clutch out, because that's the movement that you're going to have to perfect once you get driving in your manual transmission car, which seems like a lot of working parts right now, but once you get the hang of it, it is second nature, and it'll be the easiest thing. Like 2 weeks into driving a manual transmission, and you're going to think it's the easiest thing there's ever been. Okay, so once you're comfortable with your clutch, and you're comfortable with your shifter, and the orientation of your gearbox, and pressing in the clutch and shifting at the same time, it's time to give this thing a rip. So don't be afraid of stalling the car or missing a gear. It's okay, you're not going to hurt it. You'd have to be drag racing and banging gears to do real damage to your transmission. So first things first, let's start this thing up. So you're going to want to press in the clutch all the way to the floor and then turn the car on. And you have to press in the clutch every time, and your car should be in first gear, and you want to put it in neutral and just give it a little wiggle just in case it's not in gear. So now that we've gotten this far, what you're going to want to do is let your e-brake down, put your foot on the brake. So first things first is clutch in all the way and then shifting into first gear. And now we're going to give it about 2,500 RPMs and let out the clutch slowly. And remember, keep giving it gas once it goes down, and just keep letting out that clutch. And that's how you do it. And when you stop, press in that clutch again. Otherwise, the car is going to stall. And see, don't be afraid to stall it or even do a burnout. So I'll just give you an example. So let's do it again. Clutch in, into first, and I'll just show you what could go wrong if you overdo it. So let's say you give it too much gas and just let off the clutch completely. I'll show you what's gonna happen. All right, now just rev it to like 5,000 RPM. All right, so that's all that's gonna happen if you give it too much gas. You're gonna do a little bit of a burnout, but that's it. And it's not gonna hurt you, and it's gonna be okay, and your car's gonna be okay. So this is what happens when you don't give it enough gas and you just let the clutch out. The car just stops. Not a big deal. You didn't hurt anything. All you gotta do, press the clutch back in, turn on the car, and you're right back where you left off. No harm, no foul. But what you wanna do is take off at about 2,500 RPM and let the clutch out slowly. Keep giving it gas as you're letting the clutch out. So I was showing you how to take off from a start, and after a little while you're gonna start to feel what I call the catch point, right where the engine and the transmission catch and you start moving. So you don't always have to start at 2,500 RPMs. You can just start where you feel that catch point. So I'm gonna show you right now. So I'm gonna press the clutch in, I'm gonna put it into first gear, and so I'm just gonna give it gas and let the clutch out until I feel the car move and I'm at the catch point. So I felt the catch point and now I'm going. And that's as simple as that. So once you get more comfortable, you won't have to rev it up to 2,500 RPMs. You'll just have to rev it up to the catch point and you'll start to feel it. And so what I do to get comfortable with that catch point is when I'm at stoplights or I'm on like a small hill, I'll just start letting out the clutch, hitting the gas, and make the car bounce back and forth. I'll kind of show you right now. So I have a little hill right here that I'm actually showing you guys on. All right, so it's steep enough so I'll roll back. All right, so I'm gonna let my foot off the brake and roll back so you can see we're rolling. And I'm gonna let the clutch out a little bit and give it some gas, and I'm moving forward again. And I'll hit the brake, I'll start rolling back again, just a little bit. And so it gets you comfortable with that catch point, and getting familiar with that catch point is everything. That's what's gonna make you a good manual transmission driver, is knowing your car and where the transmission and the engine engage and where you can take off, and just give it the minimal amount of gas and letting out the clutch at the right time so you can take off smoothly. Because that's the goal with this, is we want to take off as smooth as we can with no bouncing around or anything. And so that's what's going to help you, is just at stoplights and stuff, just bouncing back and forth and really getting a feel for that catch point. So when you're coming to a stop, you're going to want to press in the clutch, and then you're going to want to put the car into neutral and just use your brakes to stop. And that's how you're going to stop with the car in the manual. Very simple, takes some getting used to, but otherwise if you just hit the brakes, you're going to stall. And it's kind of embarrassing to stall at a stop sign. I've done it multiple times myself, and it's just not the funnest thing in the world. Alright, so we got a stop sign. We're going to put our car we're going to press the clutch in, put our car into neutral, let the clutch out, hit the brakes, and cruise to the stop sign. Alright, so now clutch in, first gear, give it some gas, let the clutch out slow, and we're cruising again. Alright, so once you get familiar with that basic takeoff and the shift, you're going to want to learn hills as fast as possible, because you don't want to be in a position where you roll back too far and you hit someone. God forbid. So you just want to get on a hill and practice this as soon as you learn a manual. This is probably the most important thing, And don't be afraid to give it too much gas and do a little burnout just to get going. It's not going to hurt the car. Everything's going to be fine. So I'm going to demonstrate that right now. Okay, so we found a pretty steep hill. And actually, this is the hill when I started driving manual. This is what I learned on. So what you're going to want to do first is push in the clutch all the way in and then shift it in the first gear. So we're already in first gear. And this is just a little trick. Don't rely on this. Learn how to start the car without this method. But what you're going to want to do is pull the e-brake up, and so now you can put your foot on the gas and take your foot off the brake, and as soon as you start to move, let go of that e-brake and take off. And again, don't rely on this. This is just to get started on the hill. After a while, you're just going to want to learn how to catch the clutch and the gas at the same time so you can just take off. This is just to get used to it. So let's do this fast without the e-brake. What you're going to want to do is have your foot on the brake and clutch in first gear. Take your foot off the brake really fast, let out the clutch to the catch point as fast as you can, and then let it out slowly and give it more gas. So I'll show you right now on the gauges. So brake off, gas, and then clutch. Just like that. So it's going to take some practice, don't get me wrong. I've done many burnouts, many stalls, scared myself multiple times, but once you get it, it's very, very easy and simple to understand and to get. But do that. Like I said, the only time you use the e-brake method is if you're super scared and you just really want to get out of a hill, or don't rely on that. It is a little extra tip just to help you get the hang of it, but don't rely on that. Alright, so once you get your takeoffs down and your hill starts down and feeling that catch point, it's time to go take it for a drive. So we're gonna start off in first gear. We're gonna push in our clutch 2,500 RPMs up to the catch point and take off. Alright, so we're going down the road. We hit about 3,000 RPMs. We're going to clutch in, shift to second. Alright, and so now back to about 3,000 RPMs. We're going to go to third, so clutch in, up to the middle, third. Keep going. We're going to continue this up to fifth gear, so back up to 3,000 RPM, 3,500, and then clutch in, and then down to fourth. Alright, and if you have a 5-speed car, this will be your last one to get into your overdrive. We're going to take it to about 3,000 RPMs, and then we're going to shift it into fifth. And fifth will be in the top right of the sequence. So 3,000, clutch in, fifth gear. And so this is our cruising gear. This is where we're going to sit on the highway at about 65, 70 miles an hour and get good gas mileage. So what I want you guys to take away from this video is practice makes perfect. You're going to have to do this for a little bit until you get comfortable, and then it'll be easier and easier and easier. Make sure you practice your hill starts, and make sure you practice taking off and shifting, because the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. And that's really all this is. It becomes a very simple skill once you've been doing it for a while. So what I want you to do is first learn how to take off from a dead stop, then learn how to shift from first to second, third to fourth, fourth to fifth. And then get on a steep hill and just learn the catch point of the clutch by giving it gas, letting out the clutch, and just getting faster and faster and faster till it's second nature and you don't roll back at all when you're on that hill. That handbrake technique I showed you is just to get you started, because at first you're gonna be really scared, because I know I was. But that handbrake is just to give you a sense of security. But you need to learn how to do it by yourself and not rely on that e-brake. That's just last resort. If you just feel so scared that you have to do it, that's when you would use it. But all in all, you want to be able to do it yourself. The other thing is, I do it a lot when I'm at stoplights, is I just press in my clutch and give it gas and feel that catch point. And I just keep doing it over and over and over again. That's something that's gonna help you learn a little bit more. So you'll press in that clutch and give it a little gas, and when the car starts to move, that's when that's your catch point. And you'll just do that over and over again until you feel real comfortable, and then you know how to drive clutch. So there's a ton of applications for manual transmissions, and I feel like people are losing this skill the more and more time goes on, because all cars are automatic. Automatic is faster at the end of the day. So I just think this skill is dying, but for the car enthusiasts, it's just a little bit funner, and that's like really the only reason I have for it. It's just a little bit funner than automatic, and that's really the only reason I have a manual. But if you ever get into a tight situation and all you have is a manual transmission car to drive, you don't want to be stranded. So might as well just look up a video and learn how to do it. But it's always a good skill to have. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and a subscribe, and I'll be coming out with more car videos and more builds, more how-tos, just anything you guys want. Just let me know and I'll make a video about it. But that's the end of today's video, and thank you so much for watching. If there was something I didn't cover, but I think I covered it pretty well, let me know. Bye, guys. Just wanted on a side note, everybody's looking at me with my big fuzzy microphone like, wow, this guy's a loser.